Hello everyone, it's SpawnPoiint and today we are unboxing the brand new LG GX9, which is the largest gaming monitor that I've ever had, and it's the first 5K 2K OLED. So it's a 45-inch ultra-wide OLED that supports up to 330Hz, is NVIDIA G-Sync compatible, has AMD FreeSync support, USB-C, DisplayPort 2.1, and a dual mode that you can switch between different resolutions as a click of a button. So it's called the 2025 LG UltraGear 45 GX950A. And today we're going to get this unboxed and set up, then go over the specs and test it out on both PC and the PS5 Pro. And let me tell you, this thing is an absolute beast. Now I have linked to it down below if you wish to check it out, but any questions you've got, just drop those in the comments and I will get back to you. Okay, so first up, here's the box that it comes in, and it's actually really nice to see that it comes with all of these specs and the images on the side of the box, as over the last few years we have seen more and more boxes going down the plain cardboard route. And then inside we get the monitor itself, which we'll come back to in a second. We also have this box which is filled with accessories and cables, including the power cable and the power pack, an HDMI 2.1 cable, a USB-C cable, and a DisplayPort 2.1 cable. Then there's the usual manuals and warranty information that we're never going to read. Also a plastic cover to go on the back of the monitor to hide those cables away. And then we get an included stand which comes in two parts. We have the main arm which has some nice UltraGear branding on the back, along with a cable management port near the bottom. And the metal base which is surprisingly heavy, but I guess it needs to support that huge monitor. Now, although it does come with VESA holes on the back to either wall mount or arm mount it, I'm going to use the provided standard that comes within the box. So this just clicks onto the back of the monitor here, and the base of the stand just simply screws into the bottom with those two screws. And that's it, we are now ready to take a closer look at this monster of a screen. Right, so before I flip this around, let me quickly show you around the back. So LG have gone for the same clean, understated look that we've had before, with the UltraGear logo at the top and the two LED strips on either side. I think it looks proper clean, and it's nice that these LEDs can be changed to any colour in the settings, or switched off completely if you'd rather not use them. Now you can also see that although it's a curved screen, the body of the monitor itself is still pretty slim overall, which looks nice. And as for the ports, well, this is something that has been upgraded in the 2025 model, and that's the fact that it now comes with a DisplayPort 2.1 instead of the usual 1.4. But it's also got two HDMI 2.1 ports for console and PC gaming, a 90-watt USB-C port for connecting up your laptop or your MacBook, and two USB ports. There's also a headphone out across the bottom here as well. By the way of cable management, there isn't any trunking as such, but there is this little cutout on the back of the stand that we can feed our cables through to keep things looking tidy. Now let's get this monitor flipped around and take a closer look at this thing. Okay, wow, this is an absolute beast of a screen. I mean, I usually have a 32-inch sitting on my desk, but I do have a 40-inch on the desk behind me that I use every day for work. But 45 inches is no joke. I don't think I was prepared for how big this would look. So I've put the dimensions on screen now just to give you an idea of just how big this is. But I also like how thin the frame and the bezels are around the screen. It instantly makes it look super clean with no bulky frame or branding at all on the front. It definitely looks really clean in the setup. As for the stand, well, LG have stuck with the same base that we got last year, which I much prefer over the larger feet we've had before. And the movement from the stand is kind of what you would expect, with full height, tilt and swivel movement, so you can adjust it however you'd like for your own setup. Right, so it's worth addressing probably the biggest question you're going to ask: what is the curvature like and how aggressive is it? Well, this is an 800R curve monitor, which is something that I was initially worried about, as the only other curve monitor I have is the 40WP95C, which I think is about 2500R, so basically flat. But having used this now for the last few days, I've actually fallen in love with this thing. Like, it's clearly very curved, there's no denying that. But at this size and how close I'm sitting to it, it is incredible. I mean, once you're sat down a couple of feet from the screen, or around 80 to 90 centimeters, you're kind of locked in and it feels incredibly immersive. I'm sitting here now and I've got this huge 45-inch screen wrapping around my vision, and the strange thing is, I don't feel like the screen is quite as big as it actually is. It's like your peripheral vision is completely taken up by the screen. For gaming on PC, it literally feels like you're in the game and you're not having to move your head around to try and cover those 45 inches. And for work, which I will cover a little more later, you've got everything right in front of you. I've actually been using this for video editing and writing this very script this week, and I feel like I need to swap to OLED on my other setup now. So this monitor comes with a 5K 2K resolution, which is the world's first OLED gaming monitor with this resolution. So that means we're getting a 21:9 aspect ratio with a 5K wide and a 2K high display at 45 inches. This is literally 50% more pixels than something like a 49-inch DQ HD screen. And as this is an OLED, we are of course getting some of the best picture quality and image quality features that we can expect from any screen. So throwing on some native 4K content seriously shows off how good this monitor looks. LG have also confirmed that the new OLED uses Delta E less than 2 color accuracy and DCI P3 color gamut of 98.5%. So in other words, colors are vivid and you could say true to life. As for the black levels, well, the self-lighting pixels of an OLED means the contrast and black levels are as you would expect, which is pretty awesome. And even with these black levels and infinite contrast, we're not getting any black crush at all. I'll put some images up on screen now just so you can see how good the black or the dark areas are, which not only helps with the contrast, but makes the colors and highlights pop even more. And you might be surprised by this, as it's always difficult to capture on camera. But although the black levels are great, this is also LG's brightest OLED yet. At its peak, this is able to hit 1300 nits in a 1.5% APL window. And that's with thanks to MLA Plus tech. And this is really noticeable when you're looking at an image like this, where you can see how bright the light areas are on the screen. And you may have noticed this already, but this screen does have an anti-glare coating. So it's not fully matte and it's not glossy, which to be honest is no surprise with it being a curved display. Now LG calls it their anti-glare and low reflection coating, which does a pretty good job of removing reflections, and you'll only get a little glare if you're pointing it straight at a light or a window. For me, this is no different to the 32-inch OLED that I got last year, and it's probably one of the best anti-glare coatings that I've ever had on a screen. And viewing angles are often something that we talk about with monitors, but with an OLED, it's not really a concern at all. Not only do we get these impressive viewing angles when moving around the screen, it also means that while you're sitting in the middle, there is no loss in brightness, contrast, or colors as well. Now, when it comes to gaming, which let's face it, is the main reason that you would go for a monitor like this, the GX9 absolutely blew me away. I mean, it's easy to read specs and see that it ticks almost every single box, and it's a clear upgrade on last year's monitor. But seeing it and using it, this honestly looks awesome. So I've got this hooked up to my PC with an RTX 5080, and throwing on something like Cyberpunk, God of War, or Spider-Man blows me away just how good this looks. And coming from using a flat screen OLED, this is a totally different gaming experience I was not expecting to like so much. So as for the actual specs of the monitor, it's got a response time of 0.03 milliseconds, so it is lightning fast. Is NVIDIA G-Sync compatible, supports AMD FreeSync Premium Pro, and has a refresh rate of up to 330Hz. So we can either use this at 330Hz if we drop the resolution down to 1080p, or 165Hz if we're using the full 5K 2K resolution. So depending on the game that we're playing, say Cyberpunk or Helldivers 2, we can swap between the modes for the best resolution that we want. And the fact that this is a 5K 2K screen where the vertical is 2160p rather than the usual 1440p, it seriously shows why you can go as wide as you want with an ultrawide, but you should never really go shorter. Now, on top of using it with my PC, I did test it out on the PS5 Pro as well. Obviously, the PS5 does not natively support ultra-wide monitors, so although you could use it full screen, it will look absolutely ridiculous as the image is going to be stretched. Instead, this is the best way to use it, which means you are going to have black bars on either side of the screen, but it will at least look a little more normal. And the good news is that the PS5 will still output a 4K resolution, so you're getting a decent picture quality at 60Hz. Now, it's not really a monitor you would buy just for a PS5, but the fact is you could use this if you're running multiple consoles and a PC at the same time. I also wanted to mention that the DisplayPort 2.1 on this features UHBR 13.5 and not UHBR 20 as you might expect, which means it can still hit 5K 2K at 165Hz and 10-bit, but not without using DSC. And PPI is another point worth talking about. So this year the PPI, or pixels per inch, has been improved from 84 to 125. That's huge. That means text on screen, whether that's in menus or just in-game text, is so much sharper or clearer to read. Another cool feature on the GX9 is the Dual Mode. This is how you can select 8 Dual Mode options at a click of a button. You can either press the physical button under the screen, you can use the on-screen menu to select a mode, or LG Switch software. Basically, this gives you the option to swap between 8 different modes from 165Hz to 330Hz, Full HD to Wide Ultra HD, and 24 inches up to 45 inches. So if you are playing a game like Cyberpunk, you might want to run this at 45 inches, Wide Ultra HD and 165Hz to get the most out of the screen. But then for something like Helldivers 2, you could drop this down to 24 inches, Full HD and 330Hz. Now this is great as it means the monitor is versatile enough that it can switch between loads of different resolutions at a click of a button. And then I've also been using this for productivity. Now most of us will sit at the same setup for both work and gaming, so having a monitor that is capable of doing both is pretty important. So to test this out, I decided to use this monitor with my MacBook, which is where I edit my videos. So firstly, this monitor does come with a 90-watt USB-C port on the back, and that means we can plug a laptop or MacBook in and not only get an image on screen, but we can keep it powered and charged up at the same time. This is a huge advantage over using an HDMI cable, as we'll only need a one cable setup, which is great. Okay, now we are plugged in. The first thing to note is that the 800R curve is nowhere near as aggressive as I was expecting for editing and working. Sure, the lines are clearly curved and distorted, but sitting like I am, about 3 feet or 80 to 90 centimeters, I feel like this is the sweet spot. Also, being able to snap multiple windows side by side on a 45-inch screen is crazy. So here I've got my entire timeline up for Final Cut Pro, and I can zoom out to see everything, or zoom right in and see how sharp and detailed everything is. Another point about using it for productivity is eye strain or eye fatigue. If you're using a monitor for 7 hours or more a day, there's a chance you're going to get eye fatigue and feel pretty tired. Now personally, I don't suffer from this, but LG do have some tech built in to help reduce it anyway. Things like a flicker-free display and a low blue light mode, which is designed to reduce the blue light wavelength from the image on screen. So yeah, for productivity, I can say this is a great screen. And to give you an idea, I'm already planning on swapping my 4-year-old 40-inch UltraWide over here to the new 45-inch OLED once I finish filming this week. I also wanted to show you the picture-in-picture or picture-by-picture modes that the screen offers. So in the settings, there's an option to have 2 different inputs displayed at the same time. And that means you could have a console like a PS5 up on one side, while your PC or laptop is on the other. Perfect for those times where you could really do with 2 screens at your setup, but instead of adding an additional monitor, you can just plug the 2 devices in at the same time. So here I've got my MacBook Pro on the left and the PS5 Pro on the right. So it's really cool that I can have the 2 of these side by side. Just to note though that the PS5 is showing up at 4K 60Hz, which on half a screen input like this is absolutely fine. I even tried it with my PC and MacBook at the same time, or PC and PS5 Pro, and that worked perfectly fine as well. Or you could play around and use the picture-in-picture mode, so you could have your PC or laptop using the full screen, then your second device, in my case the PS5, shows up as a smaller window in the bottom corner. Oh, and this monitor does come with speakers built in, so although I would rather choose to wear a headset while I'm gaming, the fact that we can choose to switch between a headset and the inbuilt speakers is awesome. This means for those story-driven games or when you want to watch a movie at the setup, you can use the inbuilt 2 stereo speakers instead. But have a listen to this and see what you think. As for the menus or the on-screen display, it's pretty much the same layout and settings that we've had over the last few years. So we can adjust things like the brightness and contrast under picture settings, game modes if you want to change or enable specific settings like VRR, and even the monitor's rear LED lighting can all be done on here as well. There's also of course the OLED care protection settings including screen move, screen saver and image cleaning mode. So all of these plus the 2-year warranty means we should be gaming on here with peace of mind for the next couple of years. But just for reference, I'm running my PC and PS5 with the Gamer Profile 2. As for me, it gives the best picture brightness and black levels for gaming. And can I just say how nice this monitor looks on the setup as well. I mean, this thing is packing some crazy specs and gaming features, yet I don't think it looks over the top. It's also got to be one of the cleanest and sleekest looking monitors out there. And the fact that it's got a 5K 2K resolution up to 330Hz, 21:9 aspect ratio, and is lightning fast for gaming, This could be the perfect ultra-wide monitor for 2025, but it's not cheap. Now obviously every country is different in price, so I've linked to that down below, but I would say if you're looking for an ultra-wide for both PC gaming and work, and want the best resolution that you can get right now, this is a great screen. Now drop a nice 5K 2K OLED in the comments and I'll give you a thumbs up for staying right till the end. And if you did enjoy today's video, check out this video next. Well, thanks for watching, please like, subscribe and follow me everywhere. Until next time.